my name's Jacqueline. Welcome to my video. I'm not any sort of psychologist or mental health professional at all, but I am a person that has dealt with OCD for the past couple of years, and it's been so fun. Kidding. So I can't really speak for anybody besides myself when it comes to this stuff. But I find a lot of the time that when people speak for themselves, they end up speaking to and for other people as well. So that's amazing. I'm going to start off talking about some OCD basics kind of stuff. And then hopefully as I find my footing with these videos and get more comfortable talking in front of a camera and all that stuff, I will get more complex and more in depth with these issues. So, hi. So with OCD, there's an endless amount of stuff to talk about, just like with mental health. I mean, you could just go on forever and ever and ever. But today I thought I would really start with like the O of OCD, which is obsession, and just some of my experiences that I've had with obsessions and the way that I've really learned to define it, and the way that I've experienced it and learned to help myself with that definition that I've come up with. For me, it's really helped to step away from the symptoms of OCD and just look at it clinically, to be really objective and to say, okay, this is a bunch of stuff like happening in my brain. This is chemical, and this is bad wiring, and this is just pure anxiety that is completely distorting my the way that I experience reality. Because I think that OCD is so personal. I don't think there's a single person that experiences OCD and it's just like, yeah, I have like these weird thoughts, and like I think I have these urges and just like these behaviors, and I just, I experience them and then they just like kind of go, and I'm like, whoa, that was weird. No, it is so personal, and it feels like it is completely attacking you and who you are. I was thinking if OCD were a person, they would wake up in the morning, pee, take a shower, eat breakfast, brush their teeth, and then go to work attacking you and your identity, or the way that you think about the world, or the way that you think about other people, and just the way that you see reality. That's kind of what it does, unfortunately. That is its MO. So it is really helpful to step away from it and to think about it clinically if you're gonna get anywhere, because when you have OCD, you're seeing it through the lens of obsession. I personally don't believe that the human brain, where it's great to think about things, and it's great to really study and ponder and wonder. It's great. It can be great, but I don't think that the human brain is meant to anxiously ruminate and focus on things for more than a short period of time. I think that when we sit around ruminating or focusing on something so deeply, unfortunately, I think that there's a really, really negative snowball effect that it has before we even realize it, before we even know that it gets going. I mean, I didn't know I had OCD for a while, and it can be really difficult to sense, to understand what's happening when it's happening. So I thought I would start off by I googled obsession. I was like, what's obsession? And the Google dictionary.com definition is an idea or thought that continually preoccupies or intrudes on a person's mind. Fair enough. That's exactly pretty much what it is. It's something that, if there's like the harmless obsession, there's like, I'm obsessed with Stranger Things. I'm obsessed with Bradley Cooper. I'm obsessed with the new Starbucks latte. I'm obsessed with my refrigerator. People say that. I mean, if there's any word, I mean, if there's like a trigger word, Mine's obsession. When people are like, I'm obsessed, and I'm like, oh, yeah. There's harmless obsession, but then there's the kind that it really, again, intrudes and preoccupies your mind, and that's not healthy. So I would go as far to say that it completely takes you out of the present moment. I believe that obsession is kind of the opposite, or not kind of, it is totally the antithesis of what we have been taught as being the healthy, best way of thinking and behaving, which is through mindfulness. I would say even that obsession is just completely experiencing a deficit in reality. The analogy that I came up with for the way that I think obsession works is I call it the facepalm analogy, and bear with me because I'm sorry if it's stupid, but it helps me. So say you are fixing something up around your house, or you are doing arts and crafts and you're using super glue and you mess something up and you're like, damn, and you facepalm, and you didn't know it, but you had super glue on your hand and now your hand is super glued to your face and you're like, oh my god. So you go to the doctor and your doctor's like, I don't have time for your shenanigans, come back in like a month and I'll help you. Not that that would ever happen. Maybe it would, I don't know. That's what an ass. So you're walking around like this and you're like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. This is so embarrassing. I'm an idiot. People definitely think I'm an idiot. I can't see. This is horrible. And my arm's hurting already from being up in the air, and this is, oh my god. So you're living that way and you're going through life like this, and after a while you're just sort of like, I guess this is just the way it is, and this is the way I'm seeing stuff, and that's just, I guess this is it. And then one day your friend comes up to you and they're like, oh my god, that must suck so much. What is it like to have your hand glued to your face? You're like, well, I guess, it's kind of lame, like, but I mean, it's the way it is. Like, I can see my hand perfectly, and I mean, I guess I'll never forget what my hand looks like because I'm looking at it all the time, and I guess, it sucks, but it's just sort of this the way I see things now, and your friend's like, really? Because I feel like that would totally distort your perception of reality. I mean, first of all, you can't see your hand perfectly because it just looks like a giant blob in front of you, so you definitely can't see it perfectly. And you probably feel so anxious because you're like, people are looking at me, and then that probably distorts the way that you feel about yourself. And then plus, I mean, you can't see, so that's scary and that's really anxiety provoking. And plus, I mean, your arm must be so tired, right? I mean, so I just feel like it would totally distort the way that you feel and experience everything because you're looking at something so closely all the time, and it's just terrifying. And your friend would be correct. That's kind of what obsession is. It's not, well, not kind of, that totally is what obsession is. It's like you're looking at something like this all the time, and you think that's what OCD does. It makes you think that, oh, if I look at something closely, and if I focus, and if I do this enough times, and whatever it is, it makes you think that you're seeing things clearly and you're going to get to the bottom of it, and if you just do this one more time, or you think about it deeply enough, or if you do this, do that, you're going to get through it and it's going to go away. But really, you're just walking around with your hand glued to your face, and it's only when you go to the doctor and your doctor's not being a jerk anymore and they start taking your hand off and you're like, oh, I understand, I see things properly, and oh, I don't feel like a moron anymore, and oh, like I feel better, and whew, remember that was so weird that I was thinking that way, but I mean, that was what my reality was at the time, and because I was focusing on it so much, and it's just, that was it. And that's what OCD is like. It is a tricky thing. It's okay to have your obsessions, and it's okay to have the compulsions and perform them. It's okay to have OCD. It happens. But I think it's really important that whenever you're performing your rituals or your compulsions, take a minute and say to yourself that by virtue of the fact that I am obsessing, by virtue of the fact that you have an idea in your head, or a thought or an image or something that is distressing you to some level. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're worried. I'm really scared I'm gonna fall out of bed and crack my face open, so I sleep on the floor. That's not the usual OCD themes that we hear of switching the light, turning the light switch off and on all the time, and checking your stove and checking to make sure the door's locked, or driving back a mile to make sure you didn't hit a kid, or checking constantly to make sure you're not gonna cheat on your partner and you don't want to, or checking to make sure you're not gonna hurt yourself. Those are the ones we hear about all the time. If you're not going through that, or if you're obsessing about something that really did happen, you heard somebody say something, or you said something, you're like, oh my God, and it just won't leave you alone. That's obsession. If you are distressed by thoughts that won't leave you alone, it's obsession. It is completely and totally obsession. Understand and say to yourself when you're in the middle of your ritual, if you're washing your hands for the 50th time that day, or if you just are sitting there, because I have pure OCD. So I will sit and I will ruminate and I will just stare at something until I get to the right feeling, and I'm like, okay, so that's what it is, and oh, I would never do that, and oh, this, and all the stuff. Remind yourself, whatever the compulsion is, when you're driving back that mile to make sure you didn't hit anybody, or to make sure it was just a pothole you ran over and not a cat or something. It doesn't matter what it is. Assure yourself that by virtue of the fact that you are experiencing obsessions, you are not experiencing reality. Your reality is distorted. If you work on it, you will begin to see things clearly again, and will not feel the need to act out on your obsessions through compulsions or rituals or whatever you want to call it. And again, you will start to, just by saying, oh, I'm not experiencing reality, you're leveling the playing field. So OCD is up here and you're down here because you feel so low and you feel so confused and depressed and anxious and just horrible. By saying, hey, I'm not experiencing reality, you're bringing yourself more on par with your OCD. You are asserting yourself, and you are asserting your identity as a decent, as a decent, thoughtful human being who's going through a hard time. You are evening the playing field a little bit more, and that's what it takes. You want to get from OCD being up here to being down here, where you can be like, oh, that was just some weird stuff going on in my brain. That's where you want to be, and believe it as much as you believe in your obsessions, as much as you believe that they are important and it's the number one thing that you need to focus on. And if you don't get through this obsession, then you can't live your life, and you have to figure it out, and you have to get to the bottom of it. And believe that you are not experiencing reality as much as you believe in your obsession. I hope I have helped a little bit. I know it is kind of, not the most scientific explanation of obsessions, but it's what I've experienced, and it has gotten easier as I have labeled my experience as obsession, and therefore not experiencing a real healthy understanding of anything. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, leave a comment, dance around, stand on your head, whatever you want. Thank you so much, and I will be back with another video soon.